Military leaders now in control of Burkina Faso must hand power to civilians or face consequences, the United Nations and African Union say. UN West Africa envoy Mohamed Ibn Chambas said the military could face sanctions if they refused. Meanwhile, hundreds of people are gathering in the capital Ouagadougou to rally against the military takeover. Days of protests forced President Blaise Compaoré to step down on 31 October and flee to Ivory Coast. Mr. Compaoré's attempt to extend his time in office was the immediate trigger for the protests. But analysts say high prices, low wages and persistent poverty have fueled wider discontent, particularly among younger Burkinabes. The military takeover of the country has not been universally accepted by the people, with opposition groups calling a mass rally on Sunday against the army's confiscation of the uprising. The victory born from this popular uprising belongs to the people, and the task of managing the transition falls by right to the people, the group said in a statement. By midday about 1,000 had turned out to protest in Ouagadougou's National Square, where 1 million had gathered earlier in the week to demand Mr. Compaoré's resignation. As the protesters gathered, the UN, the US and regional economic bloc ECOWAS all condemned the military takeover. We hope there will be a transition led by a civilian and in keeping with the constitutional order, Mr. Chambas said. If not, the consequences are pretty clear. We want to avoid having to impose sanctions on Burkina Faso. Ochinko Senate Dlamini Zuma urged the military to refrain from any acts or statements that may lead to further instability. The U.S. State Department urged an immediate transfer of power to civilian authorities and a move towards free and fair presidential elections. The Army has quickly stepped in to fill the power vacuum, declaring Lieutenant Colonel Isaac Zita the nation's transitional leader. Colonel Zita was second in command of the Presidential Guard, and his selection apparently came after a power struggle with the overall Army chief, General Honor Traore. Under the country's constitution, the President of the Senate should take over after the national president resigns and election should take place between 60